That's Amore. Melania and Donald Trump hold hands again as they arrive in Sicily, with the First Lady showing off her third outfit of the day after wowing in Brussels. After frostily batting his hand away earlier in the week, First Lady Melania Trump held on tight to her husband as the pair arrived in Sicily on Thursday evening. Their hands entwined, the pair made their way down the steps of Air Force One at the Sigonella Air Force Base before hopping into a waiting motorcade. Melania had changed into her third outfit of the day, a strappy black cocktail dress with matching pumps which sported a cheeky leopard print sole. Earlier, she dazzled in Brussels as she met with other NATO spouses and stopped by a children's hospital to visit sick patients. Sicily is the final stop on the Trump's first foreign overseas tour. On Friday and Saturday, the president will meet with other G7 leaders at a summit in Taormina. Their affectionate display disembarking from Air Force One comes after Melania's two snubs of her husband as he tried to take her hand. The first was when the pair landed in Israel on Monday. The First Lady was filmed swatting his hand away as he reached back for hers as they made their way down a red carpet at the airport. The second was on Tuesday in Rome. Rather than take her husband's hand as he stretched out for hers, the First Lady fixed her hair as they emerged from Air Force One. Thursday's arrival in Sicily came after a busy day of engagements in Brussels which involved two outfit changes for Melania. Earlier in the day, the 47-year-old donned a leather skirt suit by Belgian designer Maison Nellens and Minot oblong snakeskin heels to visit to a children's hospital before meeting a group of NATO spouses, including French First Lady Brigitte Macron, to tour the Magritte Museum. And while Brigitte, 64, and a few of the other women opted to leave on what they wore to the museum, Melania slipped on an off-the-shoulder, black lace gown and scrappy stiletto sandals before rejoining the rest of the group at the royal residence. Melania was all smiles. She posed for pictures with group at the castle, which located near Brussels. However, she wasn't the only one to change her outfit. Ingrid Schuler-Ude, whose husband is Jens Stoltenberg, Secretary General of NATO, traded her black dress and cardigan from earlier in the day for an electric blue dress. During their visit to the castle, the group was given a tour of by Queen Mathilde, who was pictured escorting them around a lush-looking garden, walking alongside Melania and Ingrid. Before heading to the palace, Melania and fellow First Lady Brigitte enjoyed a private tour of the Magritte Museum, which is devoted to the works of Belgian surrealist painter René Magritte. Also there was Emine Erdogan, the devoutly Muslim wife of Tayyip Erdogan, President of Turkey. The three were joined by other NATO spouses, including Godelier Tenet, who is married to Luxembourg's gay Prime Minister, and Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel's partner, Amélie de Baudrignon. Famed for works like the 1964 self-portrait of a bowler-hatted man whose face is hidden by an apple, or the image of a pipe subtitled Ceci n'est pas un pipe, this is not a pipe, Magritte has much to teach the world about questioning outward appearances, and about self-effacement, Belgian organizers said. You never know, museum director Michel Dragant said ahead of the First Lady's visit. Maybe Donald Trump will move from one kind of surrealism to another, thanks to Magritte's ideas. Earlier in the day, Melania visited the Queen Fabiola Children's Hospital in Brussels, where she spent time doing arts and crafts with the young patients. She was all smiles as she took selfies with the children while presenting them with several gifts, including Dr. Seuss books and souvenirs from the White House. Melania was presented a bouquet of paper flowers during her visit, and she happily gave one to each child before posing for photos with them. For the visit, Melania was the picture of elegance in a leather suit, but her outfit didn't stop her from joining the children in an arts and craft project. Melania was photographed sitting down with the patients to make paper flowers together, and she carefully constructed a red flower for herself using tissue paper and a wooden skewer. The First Lady was completely focused on the children, and she was photographed squatting down and putting her arm around their backs as she spoke to them. As they toured the museum, President Trump met with France's new president, Emmanuel Macron, ahead of a NATO summit in Brussels. At their first meeting, the two men locked hands for so long that knuckles started turning white. Trump finally seemed ready to pull away, but Macron evidently wasn't. The French leader held the shake for a few seconds more. Both men's jaws seemed to clench. Macron won France's election this month by positioning himself as the anti-Trump, embracing globalization and open borders and quoting philosophers. But as a 39-year-old who has never held elected office, Macron clearly was excited about the appearance with the US president, which cemented his status as a new global player, and as a formidable handshaker. She took to Twitter after the trip to speak about her wonderful experience visiting the hospital. Thank you to Queen Fabiola University Hospital. Enjoyed creating paper flowers with amazing patients and getting a tour. #Brussels #Belgium, she tweeted. The First Lady arrived in Brussels on Air Force One with her husband President Trump on Wednesday evening, stepping off the aircraft in a navy and blue gingham coat. Brussels is the fourth stop on the couple's first international trip as President and First Lady, and they were immediately greeted by Prime Minister Charles Michel and his partner Amélie when they deplaned. Trump and Melania then headed straight to a meeting with King Philippe of Belgium and his wife, Queen Mathilde. They were pictured with the couple at the Royal Palace in Brussels. While Melania looked smart in her suit, Queen Mathilde opted for a pale pink dress, which featured a lace overlay. Melania's trip to Queen Fabiola Children's Hospital is her second children's hospital visit in as many days. On Wednesday, the First Lady visited the Vatican's Children's Hospital, meeting with patients, painting pictures with them, and once again taking selfies with several patients who were eager to capture the moment. Melania spent time visiting with a group of young patients at the Bambino Gesù, Baby Jesus, pediatric hospital after she and President Trump met with Pope Francis earlier at the Vatican. She also toured the hospital's cardiac intensive unit, as well as the recreation room, where she painted with children from 9 different countries, pausing to snap a series of selfies with them. She ended the visit by praying in the hospital chapel, while also pausing in front of a Madonna statue located outside of the hospital for a quiet moment of reflection. Melania also appeared to cross herself while standing in front of the statue. The First Lady grew up in the predominantly Catholic country of Slovenia, and she is a practicing Roman Catholic. Her spokeswoman Stephanie Grishma confirmed that to DailyMail.com on Wednesday, hours after Pope Francis blessed a rosary for her at the Vatican. However, Melania married her Presbyterian-born husband in an Episcopal church, and she has since attended several services with Trump. The couple is also sending their son Barron to an Episcopal school in Washington, D.C. Having appeared relatively somber and straight-faced during her meeting with Pope Francis earlier in the day, Melania looked much more relaxed and happy as she sat down with the group of children at the hospital, some of whom presented her with artwork that they had made especially for her visit. One piece, which the First Lady happily held up for the cameras with a smile, read, "Welcome in Italia. Henry Melania. I won't talk for you." The multicolored creation also featured several hearts drawn in blue and pink. Melania looked totally at ease while sitting down and chatting with the young patients, at one point pausing to snap some selfies with them, and also offering one young child a kiss on the cheek and a hug. She also beamed with joy as she was presented with a bouquet of flowers by hospital staff, looking delighted with the token of appreciation offered to her during her visit. Before leaving, Melania penned a brief note in the guest book, writing, "Great visiting you. Stay strong and positive. Much love, Melania Trump." With a red pen, she also drew a small flower and heart. The First Lady wore the same demure black dress design she had donned for her meeting with Pope Francis earlier in the day. However, she removed the veil she had added to the outfit out of respect for Vatican tradition. "My visit to Bambino Gesù Children's Hospital today was very moving. To spend time speaking to and coloring with children who have such a positive spirit despite illness was an amazing gift," Melania said in a statement. "The time I spent with the little ones in the intensive care unit is something I will never forget, and I will pray for each of them daily. I want to thank the doctors, nurses and staff of the hospital, who all do such beautiful and critical work." The First Lady added, "Upon landing in Belgium, I learned a young boy and his family who had been waiting for a heart transplant was informed that the hospital has found a donor. I read a book and held hands with this special little one just a few hours ago, and now my own heart is filled with joy over this news." Grisham said the visit had been very emotional for Melania, who had spoken Italian with the children. The First Lady, who speaks several other languages besides English and her native Slovenian including German, French, Italian and Serbo-Croatian, had personally written to the Pope personally ahead of her arrival in Rome to request a visit to the hospital. She spoke to them in Italian, she signed bandages and she took lots of selfies, Grisham added. She had then met with Pope Francis at the Vatican, before going to Bambino Gesù, where she told him that she was looking forward to going to the hospital for the Bambinos. She later called the visit very moving. Melania, her stepdaughter Iga Trump, and Iga's husband Jared Kushner traveled to the Vatican with President Trump on Wednesday. Melania and Iga wore the same all-black dresses for the meeting, and they kept with tradition and wore veils to meet Francis. The veil, or mantilla, is traditionally worn by women as a sign of respect when meeting the Pope. Trump's senior aide Hope Hicks wore one as well.